It's another evening. It's another week. Scuba and the Ry here.
Ry guy.
Yep, Ry guy. So, what you been up to?
I have just been doing the same thing, just training. This is the second week of training, so I be navigating the different buildings for my where I work because
Steps in.
More like driving in steps because one building is in one city and the other building I gotta go to is in the other city. Even though the cities are next to each other, so other than that, just training. This past weekend, me and my girlfriend went out shopping, and I like to shop. So if I run into sales, I find things, I buy things. But
where'd you go shopping at this time?
Well, I avoided Wegmans, but that still didn't stop me from swiping. So went to Lynnhaven Mall.
Well, you got to eat, so you got to go to the grocery store at some point.
Well, I still had a lot of leftovers, so I haven't had to go to Wegmans yet. But the refrigerator's running low, so it might be time to go stack it back up and cook this weekend. But
okay, so where'd you guys go?
So we went to Lynnhaven, did some shopping there, and the good thing is that we have an outlet now here. So I play the sales. So I'm very a conscious shopper, even though I like to shop. So I looked at the sales of American Eagle. I was like, let me go and head over to the outlet and see what the outlet store has. Sure enough, they had the sales, but twice as much inventory. So I was able to find some stuff.
Okay.
See, conscientious.
And you said when we were talking a little earlier, you were watching a documentary on Netflix.
Oh yeah, didn't get out to the movie, so no. This will be one of the rare weekends where I don't post a review, but every now and then when that happens, I sneak in a different watch. Watch a movie on DVD that I haven't watched or something on the streaming services. So I watched that, like you said, the biopic on Motley Crue, The Dirt, which is based off the book of the same name, The Dirt.
Okay.
So,
it was good?
Oh, it was pretty good. There's a lot of stuff that I kind of knew what happened with the crew when they were, coming together, playing through the 80s and 90s. But, it's a standard biopic, so you watch all the little typical cliches. The band gets together, they do this, they have some troubled times. But what makes it interesting is actually knowing all the crazy stuff that happened with each member in Motley Crue. And the fact is, all the stuff that was happening, it's an astonishment that they're still alive. Like where and Nikki Sixx overdosed in the early '90s, and he was literally dead. And it took two shots pumped into his chest to wake him back up. So it gives. I know there's more details in the book, but it just shines a light on how crazy musicians' lifestyles can be.
Oh yeah, especially in the 80s and 90s.
Oh yeah.
There's a good case study for Metallica.
Oh yeah.
When they were younger and whatnot, it was the stereotypical thing that we all think of: drugs and food and alcoholism and everything else. But over the years, they've mellowed out. Now it's veggie platters and.
Oh yes, it's just kind of funny how. You see those bands like Metallica, Motley Crue, Poison, Bon Jovi, and how they go completely 180 from what they were doing younger to now they're kind of just chill and laid back.
Especially how they're generational at this point. It's like it's just amazing how it's like a band that is around for virtually your entire lifespan.
Oh yeah, and the one thing they did highlight is Motley Crue is. I believe this can, you can correct me later, but I know they are the only band that holds, they hold the rights to their whole collection of music. No other band in history, or singer, rapper has ownership of their catalog, including the Beatles.
I think some of them, I know there was, I guess the Ray Charles thing they pointed out. There was some comment about him having the rights to the masters for his stuff.
But it's interesting how it showed how they would sacrifice their record deal to get ownership of their music, but in the long run, it's something that is more cherishable. Being an artist myself, having ownership of your own stuff is something that you care a lot.
Especially because you pass the rights down. You could pass the right. You potentially could pass the rights down as inheritance to your people who survive you and remember you, and it's like that's like as long as the music is still good. I mean, come on, how many different movies that we see with Beastie Boys tracks where it's in the future and there's a Beastie Boys track? It's like,
Oh yeah,
It's going to have its impact, and music has such a strong impact on
and
everything.
You definitely see it in a lot of movies where soundtracks can make the movie. Case in point, my favorite movie, Drive. It's an overall amazing film, but it would not be the film it is without the soundtrack and the music.
Oh yeah,
and that's a integral. That movie emphasizes how music is integral in the filming process, because you need every aspect of the film, every aspect to build the perfect film. So Drive, which is, like I said, my favorite movie, the soundtrack made that movie. Another good way where soundtrack made the movie is the first Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
It's great on its own, but the soundtrack helped it out.
That soundtrack gets you.
Oh yes.
Especially and you pick the right tracks when people go and recut older trailers with that the same way they did that one. It's like, yeah, you kind of nailed your marketing.
Same thing plays in, and it doesn't matter what kind of format either. So it can be a long trilogy of films like Lord of the Rings. The score and the music makes that film an adventure a lot enjoyable, and it can translate to TV, especially like anime. My favorite series of all time, Cowboy Bebop. What made the film, outside of the great characters and the great drama, was the music, that soundtrack.
Yeah, and it's like with the movie industry, it's like people, composers like Danny Elfman and John Williams.
Oh, yes.
It's like you may not know, you may not recognize the names, but guarantee you hear one of their tracks, immediately, and they're so iconic.
Oh yeah, another big name out there, the one that worked with Christopher Nolan all time, Hans Zimmer.
Yes, Hans Zimmer is a great one too.
So you talk about the Dark Knight trilogy, you talk about Inception, Interstellar. To an extent, the soundtrack is as integral as.
John Williams did a lot of the Spielberg films.
Oh yes.
And Danny Elfman did the Batman track.
Oh yeah, he's integral with a lot of Tim Burton films. So a lot of Tim Burton movies you watch, you get a lot of that giddy weirdness because of not only Tim Burton's craziness, but also the music that intertwines.
And I think it was Danny Elfman who did the original MIB soundtrack.
He probably did, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's been a few years.
That's the only MIB I want to remember after a couple weeks ago.
Well, no, we want to remember the original.
Oh yeah.
Not the third one.
It's in the trash can.
So that's good. So overall, fairly quiet.
Yeah.
Not a lot of crazy.
Not a lot of craziness, but if I were to rate The Dirt, I'd give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
Average documentary, nothing too crazy. Not bad. It just does what it does and shines a light on some important moments.
And if you're a fan of the band, it's even better.
Oh yeah, because once they start kicking in some of those songs, you definitely are going to tap into your childhood if you grew up in the 80s.
Nice. Well, let's see. For me, it's definitely work. My boss has been sending out these kind of informational emails about goal setting and time management, and which I've been finding really helpful because obviously got a lot of stuff trying to juggle right now.
Yeah, time management is big.
Yeah, one of the things he was pointing out was like, okay, you only have there's only 168 hours in a week, no more, no less. So you can't stockpile, you can't put off later. You can't, either asking for, I wish I had 10 more hours in the day. It's like, oh.
Yeah. We all wish we had like that extra day on the weekend, but you only get 2 days.
You only get 168 hours. It's 7 days, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Each week is only 168 hours. That's it.
Yeah, time management is so pristine, especially with working full time and going to school part time. I have learned to discipline myself on managing time between work, school, and play.
Well, I've got between the family, work, the D&D games, and then doing the volunteering at the airsoft field. It's like there's a lot of ththings I'm trying to juggle. Yeah. So it was really gave me pause to think. It's like, okay, I need to kind of rebalance a few things.
Oh, yes.
So
it's always good to have those kind of emails, or kind of like pushes to make you just rethink things.
Yeah, and today's message was the whole prioritizing of things, and so I'm looking forward to it. I actually have some work I've got to do later because I said I would. And
I understand doing work from home or stuff because I have professional development that I'm tasked to do, which involves reading a book, some other learnings, school, and other things down the road.
I got a nice big calendar that I'm going to get posted and have all of this stuff laid out so I can better manage my time and block time better.
Yeah.
But
well, that's a skill. Once you improve, it makes the downtime a whole lot more.
Yeah, and
open.
the thing is with setting the goals, like, okay, I have some short term and mid term and long term, and trying to break those down. It's like, all right, got to get them actionable, which is something I'm working toward. See, other than that, it was been trying to catch up on Stranger Things. I got through season 2, started season 3, and as kind of a prime thing to kind of end the night, I started watching the behind the scenes, the Beyond Stranger Things 2. That is absolutely hilarious.
What did it show up in there? Did they have bloopers and other things?
Well, it's a table discussion with the showrunners, the executive producer, and the guy who directed most of the episodes,
Okay.
a host, and then various members of the cast. And they talk about what's some of the logic behind some of these scenes. One of the things they touched on, which we were just talking about, was music.
Yes.
The end of season 2, the music kind of played in there, and then other things like, oh, they focused on this game early in the series as a foreshadowing for what one of the story arcs would be later in the season. And it was those kinds of things, and even the actors like, what? Wait, what? That's why you did that?
There's a lot of good foreshadowing elements in that show, 1, 2, and 3.
3, I'm getting into 3 so far. I think 3 is absolutely hilarious. I got through the first episode. We'll spend some time talking all things Stranger Things once they get fully caught up. So I don't want to go too much more down that rabbit hole or into the upside down.
We don't want to release the Demogorgon just yet.
That's the Demogorgon's just one thing. It's that mind flare. That's something else.
Yeah.
But either way, we're not going to go traveling to the upside down just yet.
Yeah, I don't want to be scary. It's kind of scary. I'm scared now. I'm gonna go hide. Bye. No, I'm back now. Moving on.
Moving on. All right. So what do we got on our list today? Oh, we want to start at the top. Okay. Video games. All right. Well, let's see. So you found something interesting about video games?
Oh,
and
yes.
Ubisoft.
Yeah. Some interesting news popped up along the way. Everybody knows that Xbox has something called an Xbox Game Pass, which is basically, in layman's terms, Netflix for video games. So it's a service that seems pristine for people like me and Scuba, who like to dabble in games but don't want to pay the full price. We can touch up on a game and maybe get it on a discount,
or can't necessarily afford the full price right now.
Well, that is true, but
well, I mean,
anyway,
let's be real. It's
Okay.
like $100 a game because you just can't buy the base game.
Oh yes.
Especially when you're talking major AAAs.
Oh yes.
You always want to get the season pass because they realized, hey, if I put out the full game, it'll take forever. But if I put out the majority of the game and then hold off and finish up a few things, then I can release that extra finished stuff as DLC.
Gotta love that day one patch. I always gotta love it. But in all retrospect,
Well, I think as long as you have media you're putting in a store, you're gonna have that. If you don't
yes.
have that media, there's no reason because they obviously because it was like. We'll talk about like the original E3 concept.
Yes.
And the fact that it was for the game distributors to see what's out there and order copies because it took so long to make it.
Oh yeah.
Especially when here's the master and then we're copying. Because before it was cartridges and then we got into discs. Well, even so now, sure, it's got to be here's the disc image. I got to send this to the manufacturer. Well, we're still working on polishing the game.
And yeah, with a lot of these games that are games for service or they're just there to get the download, it's becoming more and more of a connection to the internet, which makes these subscription services more and more pristine.
Oh yeah, it's like it's software as a service, SaaS.
Oh yes.
Yeah, software as a service. So you see that in the business community all the time now. It's like, we're not going to give physical media. We're just going to host everything, and you download what you need.
Oh yeah.
As you need it, you just pay for that download.
Get the pay to access versus pay to own.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for another day. The big thing with this is leading into is that Ubisoft, one of the big game companies out there, is going to start their own streaming service called UPlay Plus, a subscription service where you get access to their games at launch, 108 games.
Yeah, that was what was shown on the actual Ubisoft website. Was they had 108 games, and not all of them are standard edition. Some of them are like deluxe or gold edition, but it looks like all their major franchises are up there, every incarnation.
So it'd be $12.99 a month from what they said. How to access, whether it's console or PC, it's still up in the shadow, so we don't really know about that
There's
yet.
also the discussion about whether or not items that are currently in, like Game Pass or
PS Plus
or whatever, are those games going to remain there, or are they going to pull all their distribution rights for those games through those other services so they can focus on their service? I want to say this sounds a lot like how EA does their EA Access.
It's
but I
very
think you
similar.
can still get EA games on Game Pass.
You do. Yeah, there's still games available.
It makes sense to keep it. Now, it could be, hey, I've got Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Well, guess what? On Game Pass, you can have the Standard Edition. On my service as Ubisoft, I'm going to let you get the Gold Edition.
Which includes all the DLC.
So it's like, things like that. I'm sure there's some gray area they can work in.
But where and how we access it still don't know. But the fact that the companies are starting to see what Microsoft has done, and if you have a big,
I don't think it's just game developers. Like I cannot count how many businesses have gone into that. It's why don't you do our loyalty thing or our reward thing? I mean, that's basically what this is. Is like you're paying for a service that you're getting something from, and versus you bought it and whatnot. Like, I think it's like someone. I mean, you could just name. It's like everybody's got some type of loyalty point program, subscription program.
It keeps you coming. It keeps you coming, no matter if it's food service, shopping for clothes or items.
It's like, yesterday was IHOP's anniversary.
Did we get something free?
We got a short stack of pancakes for 58 cents.
Carbs.
But we're sitting there, and we went and did this as a family thing. So we're sitting there, and it's like, okay, we're all going to get these 58-cent stacks of pancakes.
Okay.
And, of course, everybody orders milkshakes but me, but, whatever.
I would have been that oddball, too.
But they have the little thingy on the center to draw your eye to read it. And it's like, earn free pancakes. Join our loyalty program. It's like, really? Okay.
It's no difference, like you said, it's no difference where they try to bag you in once you got a rewards membership to a store.
Oh, yeah.
They want you to get the card so you can get that discount. They woo you by that discount.
Yeah. No.
But some of the loyalty stuff are pretty good. Like Best Buy's gamer thing. You get a percentage off brand new games. So
yeah, it's like
sometimes.
the AMC Movie Pass thing that you got.
Oh yeah, the A-lists.
The A-list thing.
3 free movies
everybody's
week.
Doing some kind of thing. It seems like it's getting less and less about individual purchases, or let's do these subscription things where I get access to everything.
Oh yeah.
Without buying one thing.
Oh yeah.
Because it seems like, and as I'm saying that, I'm thinking about it, because like even because it seems like it's catering to quote unquote millennials, in the fact that we don't want to buy stuff.
Just
we
want
want
access.
to buy experience.
Yes.
So I want to experience playing a game without buying a game.
Oh yeah.
I want to experience climbing Kilimanjaro, but I don't want to buy any equipment to do it. I just want to borrow it.
Oh yeah.
So
That 3D experience, that access to music, that jumping on an Uber because that's very quicker than getting a cab or driving yourself.
Yeah, it's what it is.
It's all about the service.
Yeah.
But that never means it's a bad thing. So this thing that Ubisoft is about to do with the UPlay Plus is just the beginning of something.
Yeah.
So I think it might be it could have some minuses down the road, but it could also have pluses.
Well, they were also saying like you could get beta access to the new games. You could get launch stuff at launch. It's like, those are some nice perks. I mean,
Oh yes.
It's like, who wouldn't want to have been playing like Wildlands at beta?
Oh yeah, I used to.
Or if they do Division 3 at beta, Division 3, it's like, let's do that at beta.
Oh yeah.
I like testing things. So
Yeah, but yeah, I used to be the person that was against any kind of service, but when I got talked into Netflix way back in the day, I never let go.
So let's see, future. Yep, I think we covered everything with that one.
Oh yes. You hear about the aliens?
Tell me about the aliens.
Well, supposedly,
Supposedly.
there is a big group out there trying to build up momentum to raid Area 51.
Really?
Yeah. Supposedly.
Why?
How should I know? But it is funny, nonetheless, that there is a petition out there to get a group of people to raid Area 51 later in the year. And it just makes you think.
Granted, Area 51 is the worst kept secret in the country. But
hiding in plain sight.
Really?
Oh yes.
Really? So they want to free the alien.
But it just puts an emphasis on how recently there's just been a plethora of what you call dumb challenges.
I don't know if I want to call that a dumb challenge or just, hey, let me make a rumor and see how fast it flies.
Oh well, internet flies fast, and
Oh,
this
yeah.
is just another example of the internet raging wars of memes and stupidity.
Okay, so when are they planning to do these shenanigans?
Supposedly in the fall.
I guess we'll have to stay tuned to see if they actually put the money where their mouth is.
Oh yeah, but outside of the fact of how idiotic it would be to raid a military base, the fact is it has generated some of the funniest content on the internet recently.
Oh, it's definitely been a source of inspiration. I think.
Yes.
I think the airsoft field is actually going to do an event like that. They've already posted it, and my son was all about wanting to do that.
Oh yeah.
Like, all right.
It's just the sign of the times. When you see challenges and funny things like this, it shows how quickly things spread like wildfire on the internet, but at the same time generates content quickly.
Oh yeah, totally generates content. So let's grab that and run with it and see how much fun we can have.
It goes back and backtracks to all the little intriguing challenges, like the ice bucket challenge for or back when you had the people planking everywhere. It's just interesting to see how quick the internet blows things up and brings a craze up and down.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see how that goes. I still think it's probably one of the craziest ideas I've heard.
Generating the most funniest content might be added.
You know what? Maybe that was the whole point. We're gonna be like, psych. It's like, wait a minute, they have guns.
Oh yes, I don't think I can face a gun with the flower. It's not gonna work.
Actually, you know what? It'd be hilarious if they've already cleared out the base, and those people go in and they find just nothing but empty hangars.
That'd be the craziest thing. It'd be like when they raided Al Capone's vault in Chicago. Found nothing.
Nada. So where's all the gold and the bearer bonds and all this other stuff?
There's a couple.
In the bank.
Of course.
Duh.
But we got a couple rocks here, some deteriorated columns if you want to scrape off some dust. Scrape.
So from one group of absurdity and whatnot to another quasi, because you got to admit, over the last few years, award shows have not garnered a lot of attention.
Yeah, they don't generate a lot of buzz, but they have produced interesting content, and the Oscars have been turning around where they have more diversity in their choices. So they're going
the broadcast is.
Oh yeah, the broadcast still is not there. Trust me, I know. I
But
watch Oscars
speaking
every
of
year.
awards, apparently today the 2019 Emmy nominations were released,
Oh yeah,
and I'm not a big award show person. I'm not a big TV person because I frankly just don't have time to watch a lot of TV, and a lot of the shows that I like never get put up here. However, I'm noticing a trend that it seems that HBO has got this kind of locked up.
yeah. It's every year in the Emmys.
There's a good chunk seem to be the HBO
Yes.
shows. It's like I wonder if it's because HBO doesn't bow down to the same quote unquote restrictions that network television has.
What HBO is and has always been. It has been the top tier echelon when it comes to TV series, all the way back to when they pumped out The Sopranos. They pump out some of the best TV show content out there, and like you said, it could be the loose restrictions on how and what kind of content they can develop. So you have great series like The Sopranos, The Wire, Deadwood, Boardwalk Empire, and everybody knows Game of Thrones.
Which, speaking of which, apparently Game of Thrones, for their last season, wound up with 32 different nominations.
I believe that's a record, right?
That is actually the new record. Previously, it was held by NYPD Blue in '94.
So
They had 24 nominations.
So it's been over 20 years for something to break that record. So that's a pretty big record to break.
Yeah, but you know what? How polarizing the reactions to season 8 was.
Oh yes, trust me, I'm a diehard Game of Thrones fan. I understand.
It's like, and you know what? You got to go and check out the list. You've got to check out the list because I really think each individual person or bit is where a nomination is, and there are several categories where the majority of the nominees are Game of Thrones.
Yeah, when you skim the list and you see how the 32 break out, you can understand that it's not just the emphasis on just season 8, but it's the encapsulation of the whole series as a whole. So when you see like actors like Kit Harington or Lena Headey or Sansa being nominated,
the category of Best Supporting Actress in a Drama, it's Lena Headey against Sophie Turner against Maisie Williams.
And if you look at it, not just season 8, but look at their whole body of work in all the seasons, you can definitely see why they were nominated.
Oh yeah, I'm not taking away. It's just I think it'll be. I just hope this doesn't turn to be a wash, or not. It's not a wash. A shutout.
Oh yeah,
and it's just like, well, Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones.
There's a lot of times where there's big leads of an awards, but they don't all win them.
Oh well, yeah.
So they win a few, but there's always surprises, and sometimes the surprises are ones that you hope to see.
So I guess jury's out on that. Is there any category that you are particularly aware of? Yeah, I mean, you're the
one
reviewer.
thing, like just looking at the list, one of the things that pop out, which I hope he wins, maybe it's near and dear to my heart, as a lead actor in a limited series or movie, Mahershala Ali in True Detective.
Okay.
If anybody knows about True Detective, another great HBO show, season 1 is by far considered one of the best, single season of any TV series to date. It can be argued, some people might be able to argue that there's other ones, but for like one season storytelling, a lot of people put that at the top of the list as like the best season of any television series ever. Okay. Season 2 completely brought that balloon down, because season 2 was a complete wash of what season 1 was. It went from an amazing drama to just a standard cop one. So the year that they took their time and came back with season 3, you can see that they returned to their roots and made it another great show. And at
Cool.
the center of that was Mahershala Ali's character. And the way that the show played, the season 3 played, they played against 3 different timelines.
Okay.
And he played his character in each 3 timelines. So there was a younger version, a present version, and then an older version. So you saw him very young and very old. So seeing him being able to play 2 different eras of his own character shows his range as an actor. So that is one actor. I hope he takes it for that.
Okay.
So
any other categories? I noticed it was seeing the series Chernobyl had a few spots. And
oh yeah. They're on the limited series list. They're on a lot of the drama list.
I'm kind of rooting for them.
Oh yeah,
Chernobyl was a really, really good series from everything I've heard.
Oh yeah, it's a limited series, so it's only 7 episodes. But I heard it's dark, it's brooding, it's really good writing at its top. So maybe I'll be able to check it out sometime down the road. But like the big award, is usually the outstanding drama series. So you're looking at the list and you see a lot of well-known names and some unknown names. So down the list you got Better Call Saul, which is an AMC show, Bodyguard, a Netflix show, Game of Thrones, HBO, Killing Eve, which is a BBC show, Ozarks, Netflix, Posse, FX, Succession, another HBO show, and This Is Us, NBC. And just looking at that list, what I see outside of a couple favorites and a couple dark horses, is the fact of how network television has diversified from where it used to be. So when you see a list where that includes not only network television, but streaming services, cable TV, foreign TV, and also paid cable services, it just shows you that the choices that are out there to watch TV has grown immensely. So it shows that there's a lot of good TV shows out there and just not enough time to see them all.
That's fair. That is definitely fair.
But yeah, there's a lot of awards down here. Definitely can't go through them all. But another one that catches my eye is another HBO show. I know HBO is getting a lot of praise, but there is a show on there called Barry, and it's one of the funniest shows I have ever watched. But it's a dark comedy, so there's a lot of
That's the one about a hitman who wants to be an actor. Yes.
It goes from that premise, and it just gets absurd, but it's hilarious. And seeing on this list that Bill Hader is getting nominated for some stuff, including writing for the comedy, you can see his touches on there. You can see him, shine as a writer on that.
Okay. Well, I guess we'll wait and see how it goes and see what the post-mortem is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many awards Game of Thrones does win because of how polarizing season 8 is. But in the end, it's a series that deserves anything it wins because it gave us 9 years of great television.
Yes, totally worth it. We got through that. I guess for our last topic today is You found this little pearl somewhere. What's up?
Skimming the interwebs. Recently, Robert Downey Jr. did an interview and sat down, and he talked about his final outing as what everybody has known him over the past decade as Tony Stark / Iron Man. And he talked about how it's been an interesting ride and how the process of leaving a role has been endearing, but he does look forward to an open window for more projects down the road. But also, what the interview made me think about is the legacy that someone brought to the screen for a character that's beloved by a lot of people, not just movie fans, but comic book fans as a whole.
Yeah. Not to also the fact that this has got to be one of the greatest turnarounds. Because his career has had a lot of ups and downs and crazy, and he not only shows that someone who has the passion and the work ethic to really throw themselves in there can turn their life around.
what you hit the nail on the doorknob. It shows that second chances are worth taking when you know there's a person that wants to take it.
And
So
it
John
could easily have
Favreau
gone-
fought to put Robert Downey Jr. in the role as Iron Man, and it's paid off immensely.
hugely. Hugely.
So
So
he leaves a legacy, and it got me thinking about how when there is a person that has been playing in a role so iconic, it's hard not only for that actor or actress to leave, but it's a role that's hard to replace down the road. Other than the fact of how his role ended in Endgame, replacing a role of that nature will still be hard to find if and when they bring his character back.
I mean, it's comic books. There are lots of ways to deal with that stuff in comic books. But one of the big differences between the MCU and comic books is there is a sense of finality
Yes.
to certain characters. If anything, I think it will be a flashback piece, maybe a lost video file, or heaven forbid, let's just get crazy, someone finds the stones,
They still exist in some
And-
form.
finds the stones, and decides to bring him back.
Oh yeah, and with a lot of ways that, well, at least in the MCU, they can bring anybody back. It is comic books. There's always a way to bring somebody back.
I don't know. It was pretty definitive when I'm a Quicksilver
Ugh. Yes.
and Ultron
Yes.
and Ironmonger
Well, yeah.
and Killmonger.
Well, you never know.
I mean, the only villains that seem to have a open-ended return happen to be the Webheads.
Oh yes.
I mean, all the other ones. I mean, I gotta say though, killing off Andy Serkis in the Black Panther movie was ridiculous. It's like really, it was such a seeing him as Claw and seeing him on the screen. It's like, great. This could be a guy who's he's that cockroach. He keeps coming back, and it's like,
Oh yeah.
oh no, we're gonna further the plot. We'll just kill him.
Oh yeah, but it just goes to show that sometimes deaths are finite, but some aren't. But it also leads into a good discussion about iconic roles in movies
Yeah.
and how we see something and we just don't want it to be replaced. So when you think about it, you think about the past and you think about roles that people just like you can never replace.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people. Let's just talk Spider-Man. I mean, we've had 3 really good Spider-Man.
Oh yes, regardless of how good or bad the movies are, each actor, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and now Tom Holland, have even given their own kind of spin on the Spider-Man caricature.
Yeah, and I mean, and on top of that, you can't have a discussion of iconic roles and actors who set the bar without talking about Joker.
Oh yes, and that role is one role where it's not only one person that's brought it to the screen in an iconic way, but 2 people.
More than that, there's a lot of people who've done Joker.
Oh yeah.
I mean, let's be fair.
We can go
The
back.
physical. We can do TV. We can do cartoon,
Yeah.
the animated universe, the classic television,
Yeah.
as well as all of the feature films that Joker has made an appearance. TV. There's a lot of people who've brought that character to life in so many different ways.
Oh yeah.
I mean, so yeah, iconic roles. Robert Downey Jr. He made Iron Man.
Oh yes.
A lot of people can argue that Tom Holland is making Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I mean, and Tobey Maguire's was really good, and a lot of he nailed that. It really set him up in a lot of things. But I think where he kind of fell flat into Peter Parker,
Oh yes. But
Tom Holland nails as Peter Parker.
that's why I have enjoyed Tom Holland as Peter Parker Spider-Man, because he gives me that core representation of what the Spider-Man character is.
Yeah.
The wisecracking teenager who is flimsy and
stupidly intelligent.
oh yes.
I mean, it's seeing the science stuff, but again, there's a lot of other iconic roles, like seeing Wesley Snipes' Blade. I honestly can't picture anybody else as Blade.
It's really hard.
Even the TV series, the actor they got to fill in as Blade, he wasn't bad, but definitely did not have the charisma and stage and presence that Wesley Snipes had as Blade.
Oh yeah, and you think about like spectrum across the board. You can go if you can go further back, like Superman, Christopher Reeves. Like no matter how they try to bring him back, everybody automatically thinks back to Christopher Reeves as Superman.
Yeah, he was funny. You know, obviously thinking a lot back on your life, and this is kind of funny for our friendship. Is I was taking a photography class in high school.
Interesting.
First block, we're in there, we're doing photography, and that's when it came across the wire about his accident with horse riding.
Oh
And
yes.
it was like, so I grew up. I was a kid through all the major his run as Superman, and then my adolescence and adult life have been him and his struggles after the accident, and the various times he's appeared in various roles. He still kept acting. He still kept doing it, and even so, it's like nice little homages. Now, I would think as far as iconic Superman, I'd like to see Tom Welling come back.
It'd be an interesting
But
take.
I think it'll be extremely... I think from everything I've read, he is done.
Oh yeah.
But it would be really cool to see him come back. You know, maybe he will down the line, maybe he won't. But he didn't want to be tied to that role forever.
Oh, yeah. That's like a lot of people. Even though they're great and stuff in the roles, they always have they always want to move on.
Yeah, because I think that was really cool. Like the Supergirl... There's some Supergirl episodes where they went back to the original set of Smallville to film some scenes. And that was really kind of nice homage.
Yeah, but yeah, the iconic movie roles, they go beyond just comics. There's so many out there. You got stuff in animated, you got stuff in dramas and stuff.
They're not even comic book films.
Oh, yes.
I mean, just we're talking any genre of film, like Casablanca.
The Big Lebowski, the dude. You can't see anybody but Jeff Bridges as the dude.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see it.
Some ones that can, voice actors like Tom Hanks and Tim Allen in the Toy Story films, or you can think of James Earl Jones as Mufasa.
No, just James Earl Jones.
Oh yeah, just James. Okay, yeah,
We'll
just James Earl Jones.
Because, sorry, I mean, you're talking voices, there's no more iconic voice than that voice.
Oh, yeah.
And if you're listening to this, you know that voice after
know
talking
it.
about James Earl Jones.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, you can go anywhere from movies to also television. You can go back to the voice they brought to voice Optimus Prime in the films, but also in the cartoon, Peter Cullen.
The original.
Yes. Even as bad as the Transformers movies, just hearing his voice as Optimus makes you...
Since we're talking voice actors, we have to touch on the fact the original Fred Jones. Original Fred Jones of Scooby-Doo. Do you realize what other major voice role that man did?
No. What else did he do?
He was Megatron.
Okay.
So now it's like, I just can't.
So...
And Casey Kasem, who played Shaggy,
Oh, yeah.
was Cliffjumper in the original series.
It makes you see the wide range people can do.
Oh, yeah.
But-
And not everybody can voice act, but, there's definitely a lot of range and a lot of really iconic people when you think of it. And voice actors, I know this, especially a lot of things like now with like Critical Role and some of these other things, we're focusing, we're seeing more about voice acting.
Oh, yeah.
And people who do voice acting. And then hearing and then seeing those who are child actors on television shows end up doing voice acting and all of that and the various roles they play. So,
but at the same time, we hear about people, leaving and moving on and wanting to do things. You also hear people that want to always come back to play the roles that are iconic. Case in point, Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible series.
yeah.
No matter what you think of it, that series is made because of Tom Cruise and Ethan Hunt.
True.
And where some people like get tired of the role and want to move on, he enjoys playing those Mission
He
Impossible
enjoys
movies.
doing a lot of that stuff anyway.
Oh,
Well, I guess we'll kind of end this on a good one when it comes to people who are in a role that's back to the MCU. And there was that tidbit you found out that they're going to do a fourth Thor movie.
Oh yeah, news dropped that they are bringing back what the heck is his name? Taika Waititi. It's hard to say his name. Taika Waititi, who wrote and directed Thor Ragnarok, which was pretty hilarious and fun.
That was arguably the best of the three.
It is the best of the three, in my opinion. Of the three Thor films.
I mean, we really kind of got this nice little psychedelic, humorous. It was so he's coming back to do a fourth.
Yeah, he's
Thor.
coming back. He's been hired to come back to write and direct a fourth. But as much as that's awesome, that also is a downfall for the anime community too, because he was set to work on the live-action adaptation of Akira.
Well, he probably still could, depending on what the schedule is.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
but that has been since he's come back. MCU has brought him back. They have pushed that movie on indefinite hiatus.
Oh well, there might be some other things going on with that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Akira is pretty damn ambitious.
Oh yes.
I mean,
It
even the anime alone was ambitious when it came out, and it's so iconic. It's like, I think that would be really intimidating.
That would be the maker. I think if they were ever to actually get Akira off the ground, that would be either a make or break to see if truly an anime can make the money in live action, because we've had in recent years Ghost in the Shell and Alita Battle Angel, which looked like they would be able to do stuff, but they did not do anything. Either it was because of poor reception like Ghost in the Shell, or it just couldn't get lost in translation like Alita Battle Angel. So there's a disconnect. So if Akira ever gets off the ground, that would be the one that would either make or break, anime into live action in America.
I could see it, but I think also I think there's still some special effects hurdles with pulling that one off.
Knowing what they did in Akira, yes. Even with as amazing as technology has gotten to, like this weekend with The Lion King coming out, you see the phenomenal work that they did to bring that to live act or bring the CGI.
How's that being received so far?
Well, it's being received. It's mixed reception, but it all depends on who you are and what you're looking for.
Oh,
but more to come, because I am definitely seeing it.
You're seeing that this week, so we'll be chatting on that next time. We'll also be chatting on our post Comic-Con, because Comic-Con is happening this weekend.
And if you wanted to know what we thought about it, check out our podcast from last week.
Yep, check out the previous one again. We spent a lot of time talking Comic-Con. Now we get to see what happens after Comic-Con. How much stuff did we think?
Oh, I am hoping my rumor pays off.
Yeah, we'll do the postmortem on that. So with that, peace, love, everybody have fun. Thank you for spending your time with us. Give us a like and tell all your friends about us.
Peace.